Good morning to all present here on this beautiful Saturday morning today. I'm Shraddha, working with Happiness and Wellbeing Department at GIIS Abu Dhabi. We are very glad to receive your positive feedback on parenting session. So we are back with another virtual session on parenting. It is said that parenting is not a practice, it's a daily learning experience. With this thought on mind, we are here with the topic Prudent Parenting. Without any further delay, let's welcome our speaker, none other than our beloved principal, Dr. Hina Raj. We would like to make a special mention about her. She is the recipient of Rajiv Gandhi Peace Award in 2010 and UNO Award in 2007, which is an international award in education excellence. She is a sports enthusiast and lawn tennis state level champion. She's coach, motivational speaker, the multi-talented personality predominantly in the field of education. She's going to share her experience with us, and I'm sure all of you are going to be benefited. Once again, we welcome you, ma'am. Over to Hina, ma'am.
Thank you, Shraddha. That was quite a generous introduction. And thank you so much, in fact, the POD department for having me here week on week for the mental health awareness program as a part of that. So thank you, namaskar, and wish a wonderful morning to all the very dear participants, parents, attendees here, the invited guests, and everyone. Uh, Parenting, it's a cliched one, right? We have heard and listened and so many workshops, webinars, so many books. We have children and we actually deal with them day in and day out. So what's going to be new today? And why do we keep repeating ourselves and keep attending? Because that's an important aspect, which I always say, that it is very important the way we bathe daily, because we get polluted, we go out, we expose ourselves outside, hence we bathe daily, take a shower. Similarly, though we are parents, children, what to do with them now that we have got them. So it's always good to revisit and call all those areas which are troubling us. So here I am with Prudent Parenting. Since I'm a parent myself, my daughter says I do qualify for conducting such sessions. And apart from the biological parent, of course, for last 30 years in the education field has given me this opportunity to be with thousands and thousands of children and thousands of parents. So that is very, very, close to my heart as far as the parenting goes. Today in the Prudent Parenting, we will be just looking at A to Z of parenting. So what exactly do we mean by parenting? How are we going to deal with it? We'll just touch upon few of the things which you have already been doing. Sometimes we are at our wits' end, and sometimes we need some kind of a help when children draw us to the walls, and that is how I'm here to just share a few of the things, or I can say just brushing up few of the things. First, very important aspect in this 1 hour, we will be just talking about few of the things which usually these days when we talk about it, these are the days of haves. We belong to have-nots. Mostly our generation, we belong to have-nots, and this generation, Gen Z, is of haves. So it's very difficult to understand. There's always this generation gap, and we always feel that this is the way we were brought up. But let me tell you, nothing much has changed, and those traditional values remain the same. So very important for us to establish that code of values. If we believe that children will just naturally develop into a good citizen or caring people, think again. Don't depend upon their peers or school or media to teach them. Of course, as a parent, we usually fall into this trap that my child listens to the teacher, and they would just say that School makes a larger impact. No doubt about this. School does make a large impact, as well as teachers are demigods. That's too much of a status for the teachers, of course, because as far the privileges go, the responsibilities go as well. So, but don't depend upon the peers, schools, or the media to teach them. Charity begins at home. And it is up to you, the parents, to set the standards and to make absolutely clear what behavior and character traits are important as a member of your family. Now, when we talk about embrace discipline and use it. Now, discipline is not abuse. It may not even involve punishment. If this word scares you, then you don't really understand what discipline is all about. But you would better catch on quickly, since the kids who are raised without it are often ruly and punished by the society later on in the years to come. So we need to understand that sometimes we overprotect our children, that his emotions or her emotions shouldn't be hurt. The boss in the later life will not be the same person as a parent is, right? So disciplining is not, again, I'm telling you, punishment, but we need to discipline our kids so that they are raised up as a well-behaved individual, responsible citizens. Done well, great. If not at all, well, I don't even want to go there. Other than that, we usually, as parents, fall into one more trap, is be a peace at parents. Sometimes children would just not listen to us, and we just try to say, okay, be at peace, let him or her have his way. Ever caving to your kids' demand just to give them off your back, or to give you a break for having to say no for the 110th time? Well, join the club. Most of us fall into the trap every once in a while. But if we are a frequent flyer over there, at times I see, a lot of times, many times, parents giving to the demands of the children when they throw tantrums. There is a social embarrassment kind of a thing for them, or the child demands, or the parent wants to, sometimes cooking is there, or sometimes some attending some calls or meetings or any of the things, and they would just hand over the phone or the screen to the child and say that, be at peace. Or sometimes they just don't want to get into a kind of any kind of a struggle, and they would just be. So don't be a peace at any price parent, because the long-term price you and your kids will pay for outweighs the temporary relief. So like, we are not looking for temporary reliefs, right? And another important aspect which I would like to share with you all is appoint yourself as a benevolent dictator. Now, with the new theories coming up and, understanding the child, sparing the rod, fine, that is good. But families are not democracies, and child judgment can be immature, unreasonable, and self-serving. If you're not making the decision, or are letting the kids push you into doing their way against your better judgment, then you are depriving your children of leadership. We need to understand this particular aspect very properly. We are not taking away their freedom, we are not taking away, but at times you must have seen when children grow up, we need to learn from the experience. When children grow up, they would say, I was a kid, but at least you knew, you could have stopped me. So these are the things which is very important for us to understand, that it's time for a new form of governance that couldn't be simpler. You have the final vote, end of the story. Another important, this is very, very close to my heart when I talk, that connect consequences to behavior. We need to understand this, that I guarantee you that you can get better behavior from your child, but there is only one way to do it. You must make it perfectly, absolutely clear that what he does will determine what happens to him. No amount of nudging, cajoling, or worst of all, threatening will do any good unless you connect consequences to behavior. That's very important that if you do this, sometimes, I was telling in my last lecture of anger management also, how many times we must have done this as a parent. At least I know my daughter used to tell me whenever she would come and I would give my instructions. And one fine day she said, Mom, you can record, put your shoes there, put your bags in place, eat well, no, eat properly, take this, record it, and I can, replay it every time. So this is a kind of punishment we are giving to ourselves. Nudging, cajoling, threatening doesn't help. Rather, if you don't put this particular thing, put things in place, then only your plate would be laid, or you will take your plate and food would be served. Can those consequences to behavior be? And not only, I say that you have to establish daily expectations. You have tried everything to get your kids do whatever you tell, and you take no for an answer without gripping and groaning. Do you want them to make their beds, feed the dog, and get their homework completed and on time, accurately, and without hassles? Then there's a very easy plan. Develop a list of expectations or chores. Establish what behavior or attitude are acceptable and which one should stop. You have to just put it down wherever possible and link behavior with consequences. If not done, yeah, this is not acceptable. I cannot be very inconsistent that today I accept a behavior, tomorrow I don't. All it takes is clear and meaningful consequences. And make those consequences catastrophic. I'm not scaring you. If your child is especially irritable, defiant, or simply just plain lazy, then you need to raise the bar. You need to raise the bar on the consequences that you use to motivate their behavior. If it doesn't hurt, it won't work. Please understand this. If it doesn't hurt, it won't work. To get his or her attention and compliance as well, you have to think outside the box. Get creative, get catastrophic, and the turnarounds will be nothing short of miraculous. Believe me, it would be miraculous. You will find children doing all those tasks. Trust me, you will be writing back to me. I can't begin to tell you how many times in my career, or for that matter, how many times in a week I hear parents say, nothing seems to affect my child. Timeouts don't work. Taking away privileges is a waste of time. My child is immune to consequences. I try hard to keep it, but my response is always the same. Here we go again. No. Make consequences catastrophic. Oh my God. You have a couple of good kids, but you have no energy to enjoy them. You may be trying to win every fight instead of picking your battles wisely. So that is wise. Choose your battles wisely. Learn to choose what's really important to focus on and what to let go. Trust your kids as well as your instincts. Learn how to negotiate and be realistic to avoid those power plays. It's nothing like winning and losing. Hey, just we are having some fun, but make sure that you don't run into every struggle or a battle out there. No, choose what is your priority, what is strict no for you, and then you choose your battle if it is not being followed. Hands-on parenting, we have had this n number of times, but still we fail. Wouldn't it be great if you could vaccinate your child against peer pressure, drugs, academic underachievement? Yeah, you can. How? I have found that the best shot is to be involved with your kids at home, in neighborhood, in school, where your kids are hanging out with, who are the friends, stay in touch with the friends, parents, and have the guts to set up and maintain curfews. I mean to say that there are certain rules There are curfews, that this is a timeout, and that's it. Again, we have to relate it to consequences. Now, how do you define whether that you are a hands-on parents or not? There are a set of questions which you can, ask yourself, and there are actually researches on this, like that. Do you expect to be told where your child is going in the evening or on the weekends? And it tells the truth about this. Does your child have a weekend curfew? Do you know where your child is at all times, particularly after school or a weekend? I'm talking this even like, this could be about like teenagers. Do you monitor what your child monitors on television? Do you impose restrictions on the kind of music he can buy? Or are you aware how your child is doing in school? Do you monitor your child's internet usage? Of course, this online learning has, earlier, that's a good memes going on that schools never allowed mobiles in the school and now mobile is in the school. But that's fine. That is how we take up the challenges and turn everything adversity to advantage. But still, do we monitor that in the guise of or under the pretext of you homework, or where the internet is being used, how the screen is being used? And very important, does your family typically have dinner together at least 6 nights a week? Now, this is very important. I was talking to one of the parents, and when I said there's a quality time you need to spend, oh, we spend every day 2 hours together. I said, fantastic, wonderful, that's so good. Yeah, we watch TV together. Now, that's not done. That's not done, because when we mean quality time, so dinner time is one time where you can just shut off all this, switch off all the screens and just be with each other. And all the questions which I have put there, according to the researcher, if you answered yes to at least few of them, or say 8 or 10 of them, you're hands-on parent. But if it is only 5, then you need to go to refreshers course of A to Z parenting, and that is why we are here with this webinar. Now, another very important thing which we need to understand is, many times we cave into other families' rules. What happens is that uski sari meri sari se safed kaise? This is a kind of, if somebody has it, my 98 marks, my child got 98 marks, but the neighbor's child got 99 marks, and my marks are nowhere now, giving me any happiness, my child's marks. So you wouldn't jump off a bridge just because your neighbor did. But would you live by their rules just because your kids want you to do, or because you're too embarrassed? So when the neighbor is jumping off the cliff, you wouldn't do. But if the neighbor's child has got more marks, you want to go there. So you can't have the cake and eat it too. That's where you might be caving into others' families' rules and standards. Learn how to gracefully take the rap for being a bit overprotective. Old-fashioned, no problem. And the old adage is true: better safe than sorry. So make your own standards. I have to see whether my child today has gone a little, he has improved a little more than yesterday. You have to have your own progress report and not the progress report of the neighbor. And this is a stickier. Of all the parenting issues that I dealt with, this is one of the stickiest one. Of course, you want to trust your child, right? You want to trust your child and treat his possessions as private, because we have adopted some kind of Western philosophy and, privacy and all those things that's okay, fine. But at times, when you find that there is a significant behavior which raises suspicion, does that give you the right to riffle through the bedroom reading notes or journals or search drawers or the paraphernalia? Sometimes we have to save our kids even from themselves. And if you must ruffle their feathers in the process, so be it. Now, sometimes we say that children will grow naturally at a particular age. He is defying, later on he will be fine, and but we need to insist on manners. Does it really matter if your child answers back, is a little slippy with you, or is generally obnoxious around adults? You bet it does, right? It matters. A child who never learns how to be polite will become a teenager who has trouble making friends, and an adult who makes a poor impression. It may seem old fashioned, but there is no better way to help your child make friends and influence people than to teach him good manners. And now we say that how do you teach empathy and volunteerism? This has to be caught or it can be taught. If kids today seem more selfish, maybe it's because they spend so much time traveling in packs of other kids, pretty much doing things for either enjoyment or their own personal entertainment. I strongly believe that empathy is one of the most teachable of emotions. Of all emotions, empathy can also be taught. In fact, we can role model. We all know that children don't do what you say, but children will do what they see. What we say they will not do, but they will definitely do what they see. And there, the role of a parent, an adult, a teacher, society, school would come in, where we need to role model ourselves. So empathy is one of the most teachable emotion, I am telling you. I reiterate, but your child must be given the opportunity to learn it. No excuses. Please teach your kids compassion by, taking up some voluntary work in the township where they are staying, in the apartment where they are staying. Perhaps, a bit of your own resources. You need to spend your own time, your resources to help your child understand what is volunteerism and what is empathy. Discuss, teach, and live with that gratitude, so that children will also learn gratitude. Children need to understand that what they have, they are haves. They are the Gen Z is of haves, as I told you. So they need to understand the kind of privileges they have over their counterparts, or sometimes others didn't have, and how they are having. They need to be very, very grateful for that. Now, there's always, we feel, a generation gap. Now, how do you get on the same wavelength? You are telling them to do dishes, lay the bed, lay the table. Nothing is working. So better is a kitchen timer. Put the timer, and that is the most effective and easy and fabulous way to turn lazy, non-compliant kids into movers and shakers. We do it in the classroom as well. We use a lot of non-verbal communication, and kitchen timer is one such non-verbal communication for the children. And I tell you, you have never imagined it would be so easy to get your child to listen and act. Just think, no fussing, no whining, no procrastinating, no nagging, no yelling, no threatening. And still, in a matter of minutes, the whole family will be moving in the same direction. So try this kitchen timer. It really works wonders, I tell you. And very, very, very important thing is to shut up and listen. We fail here usually. We fail in the sense that we have no patience. We have our own work. I have my own job to look at, and 100,000 files are waiting. So here is how to set the stage for good communication. Even if your child seems to prefer to grunt rather than to converse, watch for communication pitfalls. Don't be a fixer to be an effective listener. Don't be a fixer. Just listen to what the child has to with all your heart. Most of the time, when we talk about communication, we say how we talk to others. No, it is how we listen to others. That is very important. That communication is very important, that how you listen to others. Because most of the time when the communication goes, when someone else is speaking, what do? I start preparing how am I supposed to respond and how am I supposed to answer that. But instead of that, and remember that once the communication with your child improves, all things are possible. All things are. That is a magical box that you, and the best habit which I have done it over the years, and I can just share it from my very, very personal experience, that make it a habit to spend such time, an hour totally with your child, asking everything about the school, about their day, about the daily, about their routine. It becomes so much a part of the child's persona, the child's habit formation, that finally the child will want to every time come in, because that's the habit that has formed, that the child has to come and talk to you, and she knows that my mother, my father, they are there to listen to me, and he doesn't have to go to a friend in that case to make his voice heard. And we know that children at times become very unreasonable, so don't reason with the unreasonable, because that's a child human nature, that they can be flat out unreasonable and then blame you for not automatically seeing it their way. Don't take it personally. In fact, you don't have to take it at all. Set your rules, feel guilty about it, no problem. You must but take a stand and don't budge from what you know is right for your kid. Yes, we do, as I told, that families are not democracies, and definitely these days we talk about where freedom of the child, we are not curbing that freedom. But if that is unreasonable demand, and then too you want to, look at those emotions, I think that's not a very wise way of handling unreasonable demands. And another thing which is a pitfall for all our parents is that we put in a habit as if the child has to be praised every time a little job is done. It's good. Positive reinforcement is good. But that doesn't mean that, unless and until if that praise is not there, the child gets so habituated that even a little bit of a job is done, he expects that praise. Life is not going to be like that. So make praise appropriate. It is important to positively reinforce. But wherever, if it becomes addictive, praise is like a frosting on the cake, I always tell. A little makes it tastier, but too much will ruin everything. So kids need your encouragement, and love it when you recognize their accomplishments. Just don't ruin their trust by leading them to believe that every little thing they do is worthy of adoration and chorus of cheers. Because when they'll find it out that that's the otherwise, they will be crushed and probably blame you for making them that personality, addictive personality, that they have to be praised for every little thing. World out there is not going to be there that way. And grow the rules with your child. What do you mean by that? As kids grow, often so does their problem and behavior. I remember when the mother delivers, then the mother feels that okay, it's 1 year. When the child will see all the seasons, 4 seasons, 1 year, then I will be little at peace. Then the child starts walking, and then the parent is running around, and okay, maybe afterwards it would be fine. And then it goes on like that, 3 years, 4 years. Oh, maybe the child will start studying. Oh, maybe the child will go to the middle school, then it will be fine. Or maybe the child will go to the secondary school, and maybe college, maybe degree, maybe he gets married. Let me tell you that parenthood is never in full stop. It is always in pauses. So if, so what's a cute 3 at the age of 3 just doesn't cut it at 6. growing up can be good news as well as bad news process. With each developmental stage comes new skills, awareness, as well as new behavioral changes. And from bad language to risk taking to tattoos to some of those things are there. So you have to grow the rules with the child. What applies at 2 may not apply at 4, at 8, and 10. So right now, when we are talking, is a generic way, but there are ways that till 12, if you go by Chanakya Niti, that till the age of 12, you give all your love to child till the age of, 5, and then disciplining till 12, and then be a friend, and then be a mentor. And there are stages. So we need to understand the age appropriateness also when we are talking about. So what do? You strategize with your child. What happens, as I was talking, that you have to grow along with. Suppose if it is a preschool, what is the good news? Increased verbal skills. What is the bad news? He answers back. Now, when you go to a 5 or 10-year-old, what is the good news? Child is confident. Bad news, becomes bossy. Because that's the beginning of entering the teen. Now, 11 to 13 years old, what is the good news? Develops the sense of self. What are the bad news? Becomes moody. And when it goes ahead again to 13 or 18 years, what's the good news? Child is independent, right? But he's also invincible. And so recognizing that the child goes on with good news, raising and parenthood is all about good news and bad news. So it's about a process. So try to bask in the new exciting skills and behavior, but also be ever watchful about the innovative manipulative techniques. Please remember this: innovative and manipulative techniques that your child comes up with as he matures. We parents give into a lot of emotional hijacking. And this is a scientific fact that I may counsel 1,000 parents, I may deal with 1,000 students, but when it comes to me as a parent, when it comes to my own child, there is this emotional hijacking that happens. And nothing, you become so helpless. So be aware that where am I getting emotionally hijacked? Very important. And sibling rivalries are there, squabbles are there. So it's very normal for them to tease or taunt or, but they don't have to do it at your expense. Put a stop to this nonsense immediately and create maybe a bad point system. Okay, teach your kids to, again, communication skills would help. And bad point system, no, you can't. You're not playing judge and jury, by the way. No way. You are not even comparing and who is right and who is wrong. No, first of all, let you not get involved into that. Realize that sibling squabbles are very normal. So don't play judge and jury, don't compare them. But definitely they have to have a bad point system. Keep a chart in your house somewhere where siblings are there and where squabbles, of course, that's very normal. So that's fine. They'll be very aware about the bad point system, that here, this is one who is getting the bad point. Okay, it really works wonders, trust me. Watch, listen, and take a stand. Has your teenager scared the wits out of you? Okay, so sometimes when it comes to teenagers, they would just go to bed as Dr. Jekyll and wake up as Mr. Hyde. Okay, not to worry, because so far you were thinking that the child confided everything in me. I was a buddy, and all of a sudden there is the secretive behavior. So you have to effectively employ this parenting tactics, which we talked about: communication. We talked about a beautiful relationship between the child and the parent. And very difficult, but keep your cool. Okay, I love the story of Jennifer. Relax, when this mother was in the store and with the child throwing tantrums, squatting, I want this toy. And the mother says, Jennifer, relax. Jennifer, you're not. And the child goes on raising the voice, and this gentleman who is over seeing the whole thing, and he was looking at the things, and he comes because every time the child would raise the voice, the mother would say, Jennifer, relax. Let it be the social scenario embarrassment. Jennifer, relax. And this gentleman comes and tells the mother that, ma'am, aren't you using too much of an adult language with the child? And the mother smiles and says, Jennifer is my name. So, Jennifer, relax, keeping your cool. Don't kid yourself. You can't do everything. You cannot be a Mr. Perfectionist and Miss Perfectionist. The more you try to cram into your child's day, the more stress and strain it puts on your family life. So don't forget, having a family is supposed to be fun, right? We produce children to have fun, not to be worried about all the time. So prioritize, delegate, breathe deeply. Jennifer, relax and smile. Your patience and your attention are some of the most valuable gifts you can give to your child. And banish the bullies. Bullying should never be accepted, and never should they bully others. So whether he's a bully or a victim, what you have to do is plenty, from teaching bullying, that coping skills. If you're a victim, the coping skills, and to encourage social competence in your own kids. This is one area where children really can't do it alone. You need to be with them. You need to inform the school authorities, like my POD department is there, happiness and well-being, Miss Radha and Miss Rashda. They are there. So we have no bullying policy. So here the child will need your, definitely your attention. And that is like giving us some concluding tips here is teach the work ethics. Now, how do you do that? If you believe that kids just naturally grow up and demonstrating good frustration, tolerance, perseverance, self-discipline, think again that they will all be fine on their own. All of these characters, traits, whether it is tolerance, whether it is perseverance, whether it is compassion or sympathy, all this are emotions and character traits where it has to be learned. And parents have, they will, of course, that is, they are caught and taught. They will see you role modeling those and want to guarantee that your child will develop a good work ethic and not cut and run when the going gets tough. Now, suppose you have that some WhatsApp messages, you also must have received that so and so with all the degrees and everything, it fails finally, but child is unable to sustain or withstand the kind of job losses or unemployment. Calamities can happen anytime, anywhere. It doesn't tell you, it doesn't give you proper notice. So how do we prepare our children that they are mentally fit and emotionally balanced, they are morally upright? How do you ensure this? So again, whatever we have learned is, don't be peace at any cost parent, peace at any price parent. No. Set up expectations for each of your children. Raise the bar, consequences. Again, consider schoolwork, homework as part of the foundation for a good work ethic. Sometimes I'm not here to tell the parents anything, but sometimes some parents say give more homework. Some would say give less homework, and sometimes say, so finally, aren't all this our training grounds? We need to understand that all this, finally, they're growing up in school, they're traveling in the bus. These are all growing up grounds for them. Be especially careful with smart child who would gets away by, easily by this. Start chores and responsibilities early in life. Sometimes parents, I do not know, they get some kind of pleasure, or we as parents, what we have not received as kids, what we did not get as kids, we expect, we want to give that to our children. what we did not get. So we protect them so much, cocoon them into things, and we say, oh, I worked very hard, my child. No, that is not. The research says that those who have topped the universities have been the children who have worked at home, who have done dishes, who have laid the table and done the, laid their bed and all this. So it's good, even if it is I wouldn't mind even a KG child getting a water when the parent comes back from the work. Child also should know that parents too need emotional support or a kind of affection. It cannot be one-way traffic. It has to be both the ways. So decide whether your child should receive financial reward for performing the chores. Decide whether this are the decision, and this is how your child is going to be shaped into the way you want. So do you want to encourage volunteering, help your teenager to land a paying job when the time is right, or model a positive work attitude yourself? And these are the, let your children see that just because you want something, don't necessarily get it. Jennifer has to relax. Child may demand, but that demand may not be authentic at that point of time. Then child needs to understand. Sometimes it is always good even to talk about your financial position to the children. Sometimes they say, I want this, my neighbor has got it. Okay, they have it, they can afford, bacha, I cannot afford it. Your mother's salary is not enough right now at the moment. And even if it is there right now, that is not my priority to buy that particular thing. So these are few of the things which we need to, and that brings us to, of course, 1 hour or 1.5 hours. These are just refresher courses. We are all into parenting. We are all into parenthood, and we land up into some. So maybe this kind of communication, this kind of conversation might give you some kind of a clue that, okay, I can handle it this way. It is all there. It is all there. We just need to peel off the layers. That's it. So we are just here peeling the layers and unpeeling it. Okay. So we all know everything. Sometimes we just need a reminder, and such webinars are just a reminder. So when we talk about, let us conclude that there are certain myths and realities, okay, about parenting. What is that? One is that we feel that all parenting skills are instinctive. I don't need to read. No, my dear, that's not. All parenting skills are not instinctive. No one is born with all the preparation. No one is born with all the preparations, right? And there has to be no, there is nothing like, what do you mean by effective parenting? Everybody would have their own calendars and all theories. Sometimes whatever applies in your case, we have to again customize it. So many parenting skills must be learned through gaining knowledge, experience, talking to people, talking to neighbors, talking to our family, talking to the school teachers, and attending such webinars once in a while. So that would just a refresher course that would help act as. And finally, it is a learning process. And maybe what I say today, my neighbor's case, it may work, and that same solution may not work. Or sometimes even today it has worked, that solution may not work the next day. So you have to keep on customizing. You have to keep on customizing that. Another myth is that mature adult can be a perfect parent. Who said that? Humans are not perfect. So no one can be a perfect parent. Mature adults should try to become competent parents, not perfect parents. That's what we have to understand here, that how do I better myself each day? How do I keep correcting myself? If yesterday I lost my patience, today how am I better? Yesterday I was not aware. How am I better today? Am I more aware today? How am I getting better and better? That is very important to understand. And we feel that good parenting guarantees good children. Really? Then there are two kids in the same house, and how come one kid is different than the other kid, and there is third kid who is very different, and then the fourth kid? Isn't it? Nowadays, of course, 4 kids and all, but at least we see one or two kids same parents, same nurturing, same genetic build, but still, good parenting guarantees good children is a myth. But still, influence from outside of the family, peer, adults, other than parent, media. You see how much of impact of media is there. So these are all. That is why, as a parent, I need to communicate with my child on a continuous basis. There has to be a proper communication channel and a link where the child can confide in the parent anything and everything rather than going outside. And again, keeping a watch, what kind of influence from outside is the child taking? That is also very, very important. And one more myth buster: parenting is always fun. Wow, wish if wishes were horses. But the fact is that, like any other job, parenting can be fun, sad, exciting, boring, satisfying, frustrating. And adults should have realistic expectations about parenting, isn't it? So there is nothing like when we say that I thought I would be a perfect parent, and I would, this and this ideal child and ideal parent. It is a myth. We have to take things as it comes. We have to flow with the flow. And in fact, we are the architect. We have to ensure that the flow goes the way we want it, isn't it? So this is the panacea, aksir ilaj. This is the panacea which all the parents need to learn and imbue this into your system. Sometimes as parents, we just need to take 3 deep breaths, rewind, and press play again. Okay, so don't feel guilty whenever you as a parent feel that, I'm really telling you, this is a tactic which will work not only as when you have unruly kids or you are trying to parent your kids in the most beautiful way. Otherwise also, whenever you have a tough day, or the day is not going the way you wanted, you have woke up from the wrong side of the bed, for example, then you have to just take the thumb, put it on your right nostril, yeah, and breathe from your left, say 20 times, 30 times for 1 minute. If you do this, or 30 seconds, you will feel the calming effect. You will feel the calming effect. And here I'm talking only about 3 deep breaths, because at times we might want to run into a battle. We want to pick up every battle and we want to turn it into a game of losing and winning. I have already, in one of the slides, we did discuss about that. We need to choose our battles wisely. Pick your battles wisely. And so this breathing exercise, dear parents, this really, really helps. Try this not only when you are done with your parenting skills and you're at your wit's end and driven to the wall, but otherwise also try your this breathing with your right nostril blocked, and from the left nostril you breathe. And otherwise, every time, whenever you land up into some parenting hazard, just 3 deep breaths, rewind, and then you have a choice. You have to play it again, right? So, your parents, ready for the pledge? Pledge yourself. Take a pledge for yourself. I trust you that sitting at a home, sitting on the other side of the screen, I trust you that you are going to take this pledge. What is this pledge? I promise I will show my children I love them. I promise I will show my children I love them. I will listen and value what my children say. I will listen and value what my children say. I will praise my children's efforts towards accomplishment. I will respect my children as individuals. And I will enjoy with my children every day. Please revisit a beautiful poem by Khalil Gibran, where he says that your children are not your children. They are the life's longing for itself. They come from you, but not through. They come through you, not from you. You cannot even imagine what their tomorrow is. You cannot dwell into their dreamland. So pledge, I promise I will show my children I love them. I will listen and value what my children say. Very important. I will listen and value what my shut up and listen. I listen and value what my children say. I will praise my children's efforts towards accomplishment. I will respect my children as individuals, and I will enjoy with my children every day. So, dear parents out there, thank you all so much for being with me for past 55 minutes. And I'm sure that somewhere it might, one of the tips might help you, rescue you when you're oscillating between yes and no. Maybe some of this might rescue you. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Shraddha. Thank you, Rashda, for having me for this particular session out here in the mental awareness week and month, which we are observing for the parents. And Surya, who will take you for the feedback form, the Padlet, she will explain it to you. Sujay, who always is our backend team, helping me with all the webinars. And my special thanks to Mr. Ravi, who has really made this slides into a very beautiful slide. So thank you, Ravi sir, for all the efforts and burning midnight oil to ensure that this presentation is beautified and adorned. So thank you all so much. And I hand it over to Rashda and Shraddha and Surya. Thank you.